Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Warren City School District Board of Education meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, February the 9th, 2021. This is our regular meeting, and it is being broadcast via WSCN, via Zoom, with live streaming available at warrencityschools.org. The time is 6:04 p.m. This meeting is a meeting of the Warren City Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is time for public participating via email during the meeting as indicated in agenda item number 11. With that, I will call the meeting to order, and if everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Fowley?
Present.
Mrs. Patterson?
Here.
Mrs. Shannon?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Present.
Mrs. Lamperos?
Here. Everyone is present and accounted for. At this time, we have no need for executive session at the beginning of the meeting, so we'll move on to agenda item number 4, which is communications, and that would be Mr. Shiro.
Thank you, Mrs. Lamperos. I have a few communications this evening. First off, as the board is aware, our staff will be receiving their first round dose of vaccinations for coronavirus. Trumbull County has been slated for the 4th week of February, and Warren City School staff will have the opportunity for vaccinations on Friday, February 26th. We have streamlined that. It'll be taking place at Warren G. Harding High School, and the vaccination will be facilitated with our partners from Akron Children's Hospital. We have worked out the logistics as far as how the day is going to take place, and that'll be for our staff vaccinations. Also, depending on if we get Pfizer or Moderna, the next round or the second dose will be exactly 3 or 4 weeks following the first round, which will also be a Friday. For both of these weeks, I'm going to be announcing to families in the next day or so. We're going to modify our week schedule. That hybrid A will remain on Monday and Tuesday. However, hybrid group B, instead of being on Thursday and Friday, will be on Wednesday and Thursday of those weeks, going 4 days of schooling. And then on Friday will be our day that will allow for us to have the flexibility to get the vaccination to our staff in a timely and efficient manner. So I wanted to make that known this evening, and our plans are going very well and are very smooth. Secondly, on our plan, as we said, as we brought our students back to school, we were going to continue to find opportunities to enhance and increase the amount of time kids can be in school and that our students can engage with us. Next week, Mr. Capers is going to start bringing the opposite hybrid group students to school more often. So on hybrid group days A, Monday and Tuesday, he's going to have half-day opportunity in the morning for some B students, and he's going to have half-day afternoon opportunity for some hybrid group B students. We're looking at increasing by 90 students per day, and a student would have both then Monday and Tuesday, then their full days would be Thursday, Friday. Mm-hmm. We'll do the opposite as well. So through this, we're hoping to get 180 students more time at Harding. That time may not be directly with their classroom teacher, but it can be time working with other adults, other teachers, getting assignments done, caught up, remediated, learning opportunities, whatever their individual needs may be, to try to continue that the learning continuity is stronger and in place. So Mr. Capers is working on getting that up and running, starting as early as Tuesday of next week. Also along those lines, we have received continued communications regarding bringing students back to school from our local health officials. Mrs. Hartzell sits on the weekly calls with me, and it was very clear in the last week or so from our calls that we would be permitted to bring in our elementary students, grades K through 5, in closer than 6 foot distancing. And that is in alignment with the American Academy of Pediatrics guidance on younger children. However, we have not been given the green light to bring back students in grades 6 through 12 closer than the 6-foot distancing. So we may continue, even if we start to bring students back as early as March. I think my communication was to families. We're still looking at doing this if it's possible, if it's healthy, safe, and feasible. But at this time, there seems to be no guidance being lifted for students in grades 6 through 12. And we're going to continue to follow the guidance as it's presented to us. We're not, I know different districts are doing different approaches, which is fine. But the approach I've just outlined is following the guidance from the local health officials. That's consistently been what we've done, and that's going to consistently be what we're doing here in the Warren City Schools, at least as recommended from the Office of the Superintendent. So I wanted to make everyone aware of that as far as where we stand with that communication. Also, my last communication is Mr. Lacey and I have been anticipating change order coming from the Willard roofing project. I think we discussed this at our last meeting. I didn't feel ready to put it on the board agenda for tonight. Mr. Lacey and I are going to be discussing this more later on this week, but I may be requesting a special board meeting or even waiting as late as the March 2nd board meeting for presenting a change order request for additional funds to continue the Willard roofing project. Basically, there's a need for more roofing sheet metal as far as materials, as more and more of the product as they were working on the roof was damaged and needed to be repaired at the recommendation of the teams on site. So that may be coming, and when we get more information, we will share that with you as well. That concludes the superintendent's communications for this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. I have one question, Steve.
Sure.
On the vaccinations, how have we gotten a good response?
Yes, we have received a good response from our staff members. We have over 500 individuals that have responded that they were committing to receiving the vaccination. Our online link is going to close tomorrow because I have to have the numbers to Akron Children's Hospital by this Friday for them to forward to the governor's office, and that's how it is being determined what amount of vaccine is being shipped to our partners in order for Warren City Schools. And so that's our deadline, our time frame. We had more individuals put in our survey a month ago that they were interested in it. And in talking with a number of them, a number of employees have already received their first dose, possibly because they have a spouse that has received it, or they've run into a situation, they might have been at the right place at the right time, where there was already vaccine drawn and they need to use it instead of wasting it, or scenarios where they brought in an elderly parent or they care for a family member and when they were getting their vaccination was offered one as well. So I know of several folks here as employees very close to even my working area that have received their vaccination due to any one of those factors. And that has definitely played part in not having, the full amount of staff that committed in interested. But our goal is to review the list of those that committed in, those that expressed interest, and see if maybe they didn't get the multiple emails or communications, but I'm sure they did. So.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. And, just as a personal side note on that, I know everybody is frustrated with the vaccine rollout, but I tell you, Ohio is doing a tremendous job. My mom is an Allegheny County PA. She's 75, still has not gotten one and can't get an appointment. It's just very disorganized. So, kudos. It may seem rough, but, Ohio's doing a good job. So.
And if I can mention one other thing regarding the vaccination, something that's been consistent in our communications, that the decision to get the vaccine is an individual decision. And we have directly told our employees that that's a decision that if they are asking what they should do, they should consult with their primary healthcare physician. If they've had COVID, when they had it, what treatments they've had, and stuff like that. That's their decision. That's a personal decision. And so we want to offer it to everyone who wants it. And we're here to make that happen. It's truly a interpersonal decision.
Yes, it is. Okay. Mhm.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So at this time, if I may entertain a motion to adopt the agenda, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I can be the second.
Thank you. All right, and go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Fowley,
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. The agenda is adopted. Item number 6, the treasurer's report. Mrs. Sortino, please.
There's really nothing much to report to you tonight. So I think next meeting we'll be having a budget update. So
Okay.
thanks for that.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. All right, we will move on to agenda item 7, and that's the superintendent's report. Mr. Shiro, you're up again.
Actually, real briefly, it's any questions. I put information out in the weekly update regarding the ESSER 2 round of funds. Any questions? I believe we provided as comprehensive information as we can as far as where we're in the planning stages with this. Obviously, Karen and I have worked on that as well as our executive directors over the last several weeks.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
No, it was very comprehensive. I did read it. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it and it was long.
It always is.
Comprehensive.
What's the word of the day? All right, we'll move on to agenda item 8, which are our Board of Education Committee reports. And first up would be athletics. Mr. Nicholson, do you have any updates for us?
You're muted.
I can't see him on my end.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Good evening,
Yes.
good evening, everyone. I'm down here in beautiful Canfield, Ohio, and I'm getting ready to watch our boys' basketball game. So I'm going to start off our communication tonight with athletics. That, as you can tell, the season is winding down. It's hard to believe, but we've got through the majority of the seasons. We've had some ups and downs, but our children are getting ready to enter the tournaments. Sectionals start this weekend for girls and boys bowling, along with swimming and diving. Next week, we have girls basketball. I want to put a little shout out to the Northeast District Athletic Board. Our girls are returning to school next Wednesday, and we're going to play a sectional game on the following day, Thursday. Our girls have been out for a while, and only having one day to prepare for that sectional game, I thought was a disservice to them. So I put out an email to the Northeast District Athletic Board members and kind of told them we're 12-1, we're the 7th seed, a great group of kids, and didn't think it was fair that they only had one day to prepare. They extended us a couple days, so I want to thank the Northeast District Athletic Board for giving us a couple day extensions so that our kids now have about 3 extra days to prepare for their sectional game. We do a lot of things with the Northeast District Board, such as hosting football tournaments, and I run a Division III basketball tournament for them every year. And, I think the relationship that, our district has with them might have come into play with, granting us a few extra days. So I'd like to, thank you guys for, if you deal with the members in any way. I think we have a great relation with them, and this has allowed us, it's benefited us this time around. The boys will be playing on the 27th. It's a Saturday. They're playing the winner of Massillon Jackson and Akron North. Most likely it'll be the 3 seed Massillon Jackson. So that's about it. Kids are getting ready to go to sectional play. Can't wait for it. Next athletic council meeting will be next Thursday, 5:15 via Zoom as usual.
All right, thank
And
you very
that's the
much.
athletic report.
Thank you. Oh, my. I just heard something outside. Go Raiders. You can, I think you can sign off now and go see the boys. Thank you. All right, financial advisory. I don't believe that we have
No.
anything. Okay, thank you.
No report.
Board policies and guidelines.
No report.
Okay, and I don't have anything under legislative. Do you have anything, Regina?
No, but that should be Julian's name now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me see. No, we still had it under, he's just, you're still under that.
Oh, am I?
We just assigned him the legislative, the delegate.
Oh, okay, very good, okay.
Yeah,
All
as
right.
the delegate. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then TCTC, we didn't, Bob didn't have anything, so, there's
I have-
nothing there.
Patty,
Yes.
Howland has appointed Scott Lehman, who is not on their school board, to be their representative.
Oh,
So
okay.
they just followed along.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly. Okay. So do we have anything under old business? Okay, anything under new business?
I have a request for a report at a future date as to whether the website really is our primary means of communication. I know the Superintendent Shiro has had to put out a lot of information about changes this year. He's done it on the website. He's followed it up with a letter. I would just like some analytic analysis of which is more effective. Do we need to do more? Do we need to do less? And if anybody thinks this need is going to diminish for next fall, I think they're mistaken. It's very important.
Okay. Steve, do you have, are you able to provide that information at a future meeting?
We'll be able to get some information. One other thing I wanted to share is when we're putting communications out with our use of final forms in the school buildings, whenever we have a communication, whether it's a school closing or a change in learning or communication regarding COVID, teachers and or principals are able to send that to families' email that they submitted to final forms as well. So when we have an announcement, it's my understanding we're putting it on the website. We're also sending it to the family's email that is active and live in final forms. I know Mrs. Hartzell had worked on that. I did look into some of the data regarding the website recently, and I'm not sure how reliable information I will have for two reasons. Number one, when someone opens up a Warren City Schools computer, it goes straight, typically, if they go on the web, to the Warren City Schools site. So those would all be false hits and positives. It's going to show we have amazing traffic hitting it. But, it's a matter of where they go with it. And secondly, there's something we've already started some redesign of our webpage, redesigning the website. When we do that, we actually carry two pages at the same time. One you can see and one you can't see. And that may be interfering with some of the data, but I have already started some preliminary conversations regarding looking at data flow as far as communications, and I will get that information together over the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll have it to you guys, by then. But I will see, where we're at with it.
Okay, thank you. Well, our next meeting is March 2nd, so, if you can't, I was gonna say, if you can't get it then, our next was March 23rd, so.
I'll give you any information we've gotten that I can't give you, and if I can't, we'll tell you the reason and rationale why.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to the agenda business. We will start with agenda item 1 on page 3. Mr. Fowley, please.
It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding the January 2020 board meeting minutes be approved as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon?
Yes.
Mrs. Monteros?
Yes, and the motion carries. On page 4, item 2, Mrs. Patterson, please.
The monthly financial statement. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding the January 2021 financial statement and short-term investments made by the treasurer during January 2021 be approved as submitted. And that's Exhibit A, pages 21 and 22.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. On page 6, item 3, Mrs. Shannon, please.
It is recommended that the resolution listed below to approve appropriation budget A be approved as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Fowley,
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. Under superintendent's recommendations, on page 7, item 1, Mr. Walker, please.
Superintendent's recommendations, agreements, contracts, and/or leases. It is recommended the resolution listed below, entering into agreements, contracts, and/or leases, A, be approved as submitted.
A second.
Thank you. Does anyone have any comments or questions regarding this? Okay, go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mr. Walker,
Abstain?
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Fowley,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. On page 8, item 2, Mr. Fowley, please.
Special Education Annual Meeting Recognition. It is recommended the resolution listed below, recognizing a special education annual meeting for today, Thursday, February 18th, 2021, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mr. Fowley,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. On page 9, item 3, Mrs. Patterson, please. The look
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
wheel.
Yeah. The acceptance of gifts. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding acceptance of gifts be approved as submitted. And our benefactors are Batista Granite, and that's for Jefferson PK8, and it's a monetary donation valued at $100. Believers Christian Church for Jefferson PK through 8. There are gift cards for all the staff with a monetary value of $2,160. Believers Christian Church to Jefferson again, a monetary donation valued at $2,025. Colleen Boyle, again, Jefferson, the gift cards valued at $50. Hidden Cafe and Catering for Jefferson is 100 pies, estimated value $100. McDonald's for Jefferson, their coupons, estimated value $200. MKC Project, Making Kids Count, for the Willard pre-K through 5 students, stuffed animals, estimated value is $3,000. Wendy's for Jefferson, coupons, estimated value at $100. And Kay and Harold Wilson for Willard pre-K through 8, a monetary donation of $100. We'd like to thank all of those who have donated to the school.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very much.
Nice.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Perfect. All right. Let's call the roll.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Fowley,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. On page 11, item 4, Mr. Walker, please.
Tuition reimbursement. It is recommended the resolution listed below for tuition reimbursement be approved as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Fowley,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. On page 12, item 5, Mrs. Shannon, please.
Personal recommendations. It is recommended the resolution listed below regarding personal items A through I be approved as submitted.
I'll second.
Thank you. And that will take you to page 18. We do have 2 retirements, and those are located on page 17. Joyce Benson and Camille Hanch. Oh, I don't want to say this wrong. Steve, can you assist me? Is it Hancharenko? Okay, I didn't hear. I couldn't hear. I have one of those, unusual names, so I get how how you feel when it's not pronounced correctly. So I apologize. And then also we have someone who they're back now, but they were on military. I think yes.
Zach Cower.
Yes, Zach Cower for the military leave, and thank him for his service.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and that was on page 13, if you needed to see that. So with that second, do we have any other questions or comments regarding this? Okay, let's go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes, and the motion carries. We don't have anything under board recommendations. Public participation, I did not receive any emails that needed to be addressed. So at this time, I would like to entertain a motion to move into executive session under the provisions of Ohio Revised Code 121.22. The Warren City Board of Education recessed to executive session at 6:31 p.m. to discuss A, consideration of contract regarding a public employee, and F, matters required to be kept confidential by state or federal law.
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are we coming back afterwards?
1 second. I will announce that. Go ahead and call the roll.
Mrs. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Mrs. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Lamperos.
Yes. So we will now move into executive session. There will be no formal action following executive session, so we will adjourn directly from there. I just want to thank everyone for attending this evening, and be safe out there, and wash your hands, mask up. You know the routine. Stay healthy. So board members, just hang out